CBS Sports has released their list, our list of top 100 players.
Okay.
Checking in at number 1, maybe surprising to some as he's getting up there in age and is coming off an injury season, is LeBron James. Do you have any beef with LeBron James being listed at number 1 currently? Going into the season, he is the best player in the NBA.
I do not. Would you have, like, if MJ was coming off of an injury, would you have knocked him off his throne for, like,
no.
next guy up?
I think LeBron's going to be primed to have an incredible season
Me
this
too.
year. So I was just kind of setting you up there.
But look, this is going to be the healthiest and the most refreshed he's looked because he had last year off for the most part.
Exactly.
He's going to look a lot better.
Think about how many times he's worn out his body into late June trying to win, NBA championships. Now he's had some time to refresh, not only physically but mentally, getting away from it, just being able to kind of to reset that button. I think that'll be huge. Playing with a new team, like another new team. I know he was new last year, but some fresh blood around him. Looking at Anthony Davis as one of the best players in the league. I think all of these things are why he's set up to have a prime season. And it would beg the question, all right, if LeBron isn't number 1, then who should be? And I don't know if it's a hot take or not. You tell me. Because Kawhi Leonard, I think at this point in time, is a little bit overrated. And I want you to hear me out somewhat.
Okay.
I think you got a ton of credit for single-handedly giving the Raptors their first NBA championship. And I would say it wasn't as single-handed as we made it out to be when you're saying, hey, this is Kawhi Leonard basically putting this team on his back. I thought he had a pretty talented group around him. And I also think he had the benefit of going against the Warriors team, which was pretty depleted for injuries. Not to take away from what he's doing, but, like, when you put him up there in that conversation of he's the best player in the NBA, from that standpoint, I say he's overrated. And he had all 22 games last year.
I think it's fair to say that he had a better supporting cast than we give them credit for having been. I think it's also, it's common knowledge that the Golden State Warriors were banged up. I do think he's a remarkable player. Here's where I would say that LeBron is still the number 1 player for my taste. Kawhi beats you offensively and defensively. He can beat you. But the one knock that I have on Kawhi, and maybe he's got to grow into it, is he doesn't really facilitate and make everyone else around him better. He'll carry you, like, offensively. He's going to get those buckets and stuff. LeBron is the type of player that just brings it all together. Like, he can carry you offensively. You can put the saddle on him and ride him to the finish line. He's not the defender that he used to be, but LeBron can orchestrate the offense. He makes people around him exponentially better, and that's what separates him from me. All things considered equal, and you're talking about two healthy players, and we're comparing apples to apples.
So you would have Kawhi 2?
I would.
Okay. Yeah. What about 3? So Steph Curry is listed as the 3rd best player in this season's rankings, ahead of Giannis, ahead of James Harden, ahead of Anthony Davis, who we were just talking about. Any beef with that one? Because that one I think was a kind of polarizing pick.
Yeah, that 3, 4, 5, 6 is a really, really interesting conversation. Steph Curry, James Harden, Giannis. I think I would have Anthony Davis 6. I'd slide James Harden either to 3 or 4 or 5. I don't really ultimately have a problem. You're talking about unique skill sets. Like Giannis and Steph Curry, let's just use them for example.
Yep.
They're like polar opposites, right?
Right.
They're both weapons, but just the opposite weapons. One is around the rim shooting like 60%, and he's 6'11", you can't stop him. The other might shoot it when he comes across half court, but he's a little bit more limited when he gets around the rim, right?
Yep.
I guess ultimately, Steph may have the advantage just because it's harder to account for where he's going to kill you from.
Right.
Like Giannis, you could just try to pack the heck out of the paint and challenge him to finish around 5 people. So I'm not really, but you're splitting hairs at that point. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you like these lists?
I don't.
I don't either. I can't say the NFL does them. The NFL Network puts them out there, top 100 players. Because just in looking at this list, I think and it same way for me, I would have quarterbacks the top 20 every single year because I think it's the most important position in the game. Like even when we're discussing some of these players, I think you have to group them together. Like you should have put Steph Curry in a grouping with James Harden, Dame Lillard, and Russell Westbrook. Like put the smaller guard types in one, put the bigs in another one, compare them to each other. And different franchises might have a different need for some, for different positions. You know what I mean? Like that's what drives me nuts is when you are comparing apples to oranges, like a Steph Curry to a Giannis or an Anthony. Like, what are we doing? And I get it, but it's just I think it's even more unique in basketball because of the uniqueness of the positions that they play and the size differentials that you get.
Absolutely.
I get it. Like I get it drives clicks and it drives conversation. It's not my favorite conversation to have.
I don't really love it either. I know we have to do it. You can look when you're talking about LeBron and Kawhi. I think we can agree you're 1 and 2. Anything after that, I think you have like, slots of 5 that you should lump together, right? And it could all be fluid. So again, when you're talking Steph, Giannis, James Harden, and AD, you pick.
Right.
Like, what do you like looking at better?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? What style suits your eye more? And then after that, you can get into another list. I would say Paul George, Dame Lillard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't even know that Joel Embiid deserves to be that high on the list.
Right. But that's what I was going to say. Is there anybody for me to have Russell Westbrook at 19, who was an MVP not that long ago, I think is a real overreaction to a bad season last year. Now he's going to be on a new team. Like, I think you could see him at the end of the season being like, why do we have him so low?
Listen, no disrespect, CBS Sports, NBA Top 100 list makers. But if you have Karl Anthony Towns, Draymond damn Green,
right?
Bradley
Draymond
Beal,
Green at 12.
like ahead of like 7 slots ahead of Russell Westbrook,
yeah,
we're bugging.
That's
all I can say to you. You're bugging out.
Knee-jerk reaction to one bad year. I think they're going to be regretting it after the season he has with Houston this season. Kemba Walker comes in at 16. He was on the Hornets. Do you know how many players the Hornets had in the top 100?
The Hornets and Kemba's with the Celtics? No, none.
Exactly.
Yeah.
0, which to me is pretty crazy considering 30 teams, like you would expect there'd be representation of at least somebody on there. But like, man, how bad is that team going to be this year? Because you got to have a guy at least. And they had Kemba. Now that he's gone, like, it's going to be ugly.
So I should apologize to Kemba. I didn't really kill Kemba last year. But remember I would ask the question when he got traded to the Celtics, whether his ball dominance in Charlotte was out of necessity because there was nothing else around him,
right.
or he marginalized everyone else because of his ball dominance.
No,
clearly it was out of necessity. It
absolutely was, and it'll be interesting to see what he does. I mean, this NBA season is going to be fascinating because there's so many guys that have moved around, and there's such more compelling races in both the Eastern and Western Conference for different reasons. It's going to be a ton of fun.